The heavy aroma of stale black coffee hangs in the air late into the morning. I don't drink the popular morning concoction in any of its endless permutations of sugar, cream, or other additives, but I prefer its smell to that of perfume or potpourri. There's an understated ambiance to it that's less aggressive to the senses than those manufactured fragrances. It's pleasant to the nose without seeming to exert a significant effort in the process. My clear plastic cup, nearly full with ice water, instantly imprints a wet circle around the paper placemat. I don't even pretend to resist the primal instincts that land my gaze on the waitress's impressive hips while she walks away, leaving me with the plastic menu and an aroused imagination that shakes me from my slumber more effectively than boiled water through coffee grounds. I'm only passing through this nameless town on the outskirts of nowhere in the American rural South. If not rendered haggard from the hours of travel the previous night, its shabby motel wouldn't have ensnared my business, nor would this forsaken diner. With hundreds of highway miles between my points of departure and destination, I feel relieved of any pressures to fit the social norms of this empty town, to which I have no intention of even passing through again. I lean against the cracked, dull burgundy plastic of the booth against my back, and can't help but feel more civilized, hearing the ramblings of two men taking their seats behind me. Their public conversation is rifled with casual racial slurs. My brain paints a gaudy image of two stereotypical rednecks, and I take a long sip of water, telling myself this is to be expected when traveling through this area. I'm also careful to remind myself that these two don't speak for the whole of the southern population. I return my attention to the menu and order a plate of biscuits and sausage gravy. Two things I've come to enjoy about the southern states are the climate and the cuisine. Today, the air outside is cold enough to see one's breath in the dry air, most of the discomfort but none of the charm of a northern winter. On this day, in this town at least, the South has forfeit one of its redeeming qualities, and I hope against the odds that my voluptuous waitress will return with a mouth-watering plate of buttermilk delicacies as compensation. The ice water refreshes my throat as I wait and take inventory of my surroundings. I find it increasingly difficult to ignore the radically insensitive banter at my back. I find it peculiar that these men hold such strong negative opinions of black people when I haven't seen a single one within a half-day's travel of their gritty little town. Their conclusions on an entire demographic of people are most likely entirely forged from hereditary ignorance rather than personal experience. Perhaps, though, I'm the one who's guilty of prejudice here. Perhaps they aren't locals at all, but travelers like I am who just happen to fit in better. Regardless, more disturbing than their callous conversation are the content faces of the other diner patrons. A casual glance over my shoulder enables my visual perception to confirm what my mental inferences suggested about the living stereotypes that have manifested behind me, clad in denim and Carhartts. Every other sentence contributes to the echo chamber of racial degradation, as the other customers smile and nod as if these men are discussing baseball scores. I carefully extract a crisp $50 bill from my wallet and stare into the eyes of General Grant. He trembles in my grip as the volume of laughter behind me rises and hot blood courses faster through my veins. The once attractive waitress becomes deplorable to my mind's eye as I hear her over my shoulder. She's encouraging the scumbag dialogue with flirtatious laughter and ignorant jabs of her own as she brings them a fresh pot of steaming coffee. These celebrated clowns behind me have devolved into something worse than stereotypical rednecks. They're almost white trash caricatures now, and I'm the only one who seems to care. The more overt and unmitigated their words become, the less tolerant I become of the smiling acceptance on the other faces. I can no longer associate myself with their quietly nodding acceptance. I can no longer let my silence buttress the assumption that I'm one of them. With a violent clap, my flat palm slaps the now wrinkled bill onto the flimsy table, General Grant's creased face gazing up as I turn. Upon direct observation, both men are of average size and pasty complexion. I growl furiously at the two of them, but they lack the sense to detect my ill will. One laughs on as the other looks curiously at me as if I'm too stupid to understand the grand humor in their conversation. My trembling hand rips the pot of scalding coffee from the waitress and sends a torrent of steaming black fluid over the larger man's laughing face. The waitress screams horrifically at the sight, masking the agonizing howl of the first victim as he writhes helplessly. His companion's mind hasn't fully processed what's happened when the searing flat bottom of the glass coffee pot smashes against his temple, thwarting his instinctive effort to stand. As the first man stumbles to his feet, blinded by his own hands and the swelling of his eyes, the second man falls unconsciously on the table. I drop the pot beside him and walk in firm strides to the door, slamming it behind me, eagerly peeling out of the gravel parking lot, content to find my breakfast elsewhere. A tear of shame rolls down my cheek as I cruise down the road. There is no excuse for my violence. I have just kicked a dog that has no idea what it has done wrong, only to vent my frustrations with its misbehavior. I've punished victims of vapid culture for being who they were raised to be, for being who I am not. A tear of regret rolls down the other cheek. Such violent acts and brutish strength are barbaric and ineffective means to change a human mind. I have only translated emotional frustration to physical agony, and I have nothing to show for it. Cultural misunderstandings must be peeled back in layers and carefully deconstructed. Ignorance cannot be simply burned away.